So let's talk about that Steven Universe video, yo. It's been a couple weeks since I put that up, and honestly, I did get a few comments that, not gonna lie, did kind of freak me out at first because I said it multiple times and before the video went up that I was very, very nervous to put out that video because Steven Universe fans are very vitriolic about that Precious Rock show. It was literally an entire line in my Discourse video, which, by the way, I will definitely be doing a part two, but getting more into the nitty gritty of it for some of it. But coming back to Steven Universe here, I did get a few comments that I decided to keep in the comment section because, well, they're either crap post comments, which those are funny, or someone who is like, okay, this is interesting, but here's the deal. And then there's one that I kept as an example of understanding what I'm trying to say, but not understanding what I'm trying to say. So let's start with that one. Let's start with that one. And this is kind of a kind of a reading your comments, but not really type video. But this first comment I wanted to call out is I feel like a lot of your reasoning for your dislike of Steven Universe fall upon a massive misunderstanding of the story and what the elements of the story are trying to tell. But that's just how I'm seeing it. However, the Steven POV take is a very good one to bring up. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the other big comment that I left on this video, or that was left on the video, and kind of picking apart various things that were in the video. And I do appreciate actually that big comment because it shines a light on what I definitely need to make more apparent and more obvious within the storytelling itself. Now, I think it goes without saying that this is a reboot. Like this is straight up a reboot. Like this is reboot retelling of a different story ish in the same universe. Haha. But yeah, removing the Steven only perspective was one of the first things I wanted to do and decided to do because honestly, it's so bad. Like, okay, so Steven's in Beach City, so what are the gems doing? You know, what are the gems doing? What missions are being completed in the background? Like, for example, I think it was Arcade Mania. Pearl and Amethyst are in the background fighting while Steven is trying to wake up Garnet. And then Garnet wakes up, she joins the fight, the gems jump off screen, and then they're just gone for a good minute. And then you're just sitting there with Steven and Mr. Smiley, instead of seeing the cool action sequence with the cool rock characters doing cool things. So things like that are largely going to be completely retooled. And one of the big comments of in that big comment is that stripping the townies is a bad idea. I have a variant of that, and that is, well, for one, it does a bit of explaining here. So in the show, it is mentioned that the crystal gems met the first people to move into the area, Beach City and whatnot, and the great ancestor of of the mayor or whoever, they met the crystal gems early on, so you could absolutely have the gems rather than be aloof and secretive. You can have them meeting those people, and through these people, the gems learn about humanity. And they've been on Earth for thousands of years, but due to the fact of the conflict with the diamonds and Homeworld showing up and doing these things, they didn't really have a lot of time. So when it comes to Beach City, and that entire town, you could have Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, Lapis, and everyone interacting with humans. And so you get to see them apply the lessons they learned from early humanity to this new age, and then add even more information so that then by the time Stephen is born, because Stephen will eventually show up in the show, obviously. He is kind of important. But having them a pre-established relationship with humanity is super, super important. Now, the townies as we know them is largely removed with some exception. Like, if you were to do a scene with, say, Garnet interacting with the pizzas, right? Or Pearl interacting with the mayor, since, he likes her that much anyway. You could literally have a lot of scenes where, wait, I thought humans did this. And then them learning, oh, that was written out, that stopped happening a long time ago because of this reason. Like, you have these beings who, as stated, has been here for thousands of years, but not really interacted with humans that much. So the townies as we know them are removed, but we're replacing them with the gems learning about humans in a more detailed manner. And I'm like, okay. So like that scene of Peridot pushing Greg off the barn roof, and then Garnet telling her, hey, humans are squishy and soft. Like they would, that you could hurt him. Where did that come from? Right, like yes, it was a comedic scene, but where did that come from, right? Like that kind of came out of nowhere. And speaking of another one that I really wanted to shine my light on is, the insecurities of Amethyst and Pearl being obsessed with Rose. By literally recontextualizing the townies and the human race in general, you can maybe have a scene of Pearl witnessing someone be obsessive with XYZ and her have the epiphany on her own that she's obsessed with Rose, and her taking the steps to eliminate that obsession. And there was a version of this video that before that I decided to scrap because I was waffling for too much. But the Amethyst having insecurities about her stunted growth and whatnot, it goes hand in hand also with me wanting to have Ruby and Sapphire on screen more often. Because, in case people forgot, Sapphires literally have no offensive capabilities, really. I mean, yeah, there's Sapphire's ice, but she's not a fighter. And while Ruby herself is a fighter, she would need other rubies to be present in order to be super, super strong. So do you see where I'm going with this? You can have Sapphire and Ruby talk Amethyst through her insecurities about being stunted from two gems who would need to fuse in order to become powerful. And the individual components understanding where Amethyst is coming from, which is why I had it set up the way that I did. So you have Garnet teaching Amethyst how to use her bigger size or smaller size in fun and different ways. Or actually even Ruby, because we do know that Ruby has a dash move. And you can have Ruby teach Amethyst that dash move and her using that same move in a way that is her own. So when she does the Sonic the Hedgehog spin dash thing, yeah, she learned that from Ruby. And then maybe you can have Pearl chime into that. It's like, oh, and maybe if you had your weapons in hand, your whips in hand, you could use that for extra damage. It's right there. The characters are dripping with possibility that is just not used. And I feel like if you were to just sit Amethyst down and be like, look, you're overcooked, but we're going to help you navigate this mentally and physically. And, I feel like the gems could also learn that from humans, that a smaller size isn't always a bad thing, and you can get that lesson through, you know, meeting some children in the show that are not Steven and Connie and Onion, I think. But there's a lot of possibility that is just not there. And as far as, me moving Lapis in Spinel, there is several points to that, but also the big comment did point out a good idea for Lapis that I may try to implement in some form or fashion. However, Spinel, no, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. No, 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 no. We don't need the movie. We do not need the movie because that right there, what Pink Diamond did to Spinel is absolutely the worst flippin' thing. And I'm taking that out of the show. I do not care. No, I'm taking it out. I despise that. And that the whole point of that is to just make Pink Diamond look more of a douchebag than she already was, and we're not doing that here. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. And speaking of Pink, I have several ideas for Pink that the show could have done if Rose and Pink were two different characters. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, Pink still gets shattered. The shattering still happens. However, who shattered her and why she was shattered, I'm leaving for another time. I have plans for that. The shattering of Pink Diamond is so important to the show, it would be criminal to take it out. It is a major, major point of the show. So taking it out would be criminal. So yes, I'm keeping that in. I'm absolutely keeping that in. It is a must. But I'm also toning down, way the heck down, Pink's crimes. I'm toning it way the heck down because ew. Just ew. And splitting Rose and Pink is going to be made very, very apparent. And there's various things that I for sure want to uh, make make more interesting. Because the whole Rose's Pink Diamond thing was literally called out way, way before it even happened. Everybody knew that was going to be a thing, to the point of where I think Rebecca actually didn't want to do that originally, but did it just to placate the fan base. And writers at times will absolutely make things happen or make it to where they set this thing up long before it actually happened and long before fan bases guessed it. And the whole planning everything from the start thing at for the most part is smoke and mirrors. So, you know, that's not always accurate. You know, Rebecca is saying that she planned everything from the start. Yeah, I don't believe that at all. Not even a little bit. So, unlike then, and we have the entire show to go off of, I'm not going to do that. Because, well, for one, I'm going to treat each season as if it's on its own. So there will still be 5 seasons, and maybe we don't need the movie as it is, but if we absolutely must have Steven Universe future for whatever reason, we'll make it apparent that Steven is bothered by the events of what is happening and have characters talk to him. Like we're definitely keeping that in because yes. But also, it's just a matter of treating these characters with some level of respect, and Garnet being the mouthpiece for Fusion was taken out. The obsession with Pearl's obsession and the insecurities of Amethyst were retooled more than just outright removed, actually. And you'll get to see that throughout the writing, and The way I explained it here is pretty much what I'm going for with this remake, and I feel like it respects the characters more, and you're actually learning things along with the gem. Like that is something I absolutely wanted to keep in because I think it would be dope. But anyways, that's all I got for this one. Anything else? Well, it will be made more clear as we go along. But there's various points that I wanted to address, and I feel like I addressed them to the best of my ability here. So no, not much editing here also either, because yeah, there's really no need. But that is all for this one. But again, if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. But that is all for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, comment below any questions you have, any thoughts. But if you were to take part in a Steven Universe remake that broke away from Steven and focused more on the gems, what would you want to do? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.